Smith Boys Podcast, post-game, Detroit Lions.
Debacle.
New England Patriots.
New England. What do we want to call this? What do we want to call this?
God.
This game up in New England. What do you call it? Lions got turned into clam chowder. What do you want to call it? Because that's what happened. Final score 29 to nothing.
29
nothing. Lions were shut out for the first time since Carolina in 2020. In the 2020 season, they got shut out 20 to nothing. Brother, what's your initial thoughts after watching this game? You want to break it down first, and then you want to break the game down first, and then kind of tell it.
There ain't much.
What do you want to say?
There ain't much to break down. I mean, they didn't score. They weren't good on offense. They weren't good on defense. They weren't coached well. I mean, the game was over at the minute. To me, the game was over at the point where Dan Campbell went for it on 4th and 9. And what was that, like second quarter? Because they're pretty early in the game, first, second quarter, something like that.
Yeah, it might have been.
They just went for it. It was third and 3? And then they ran it. They ran it backwards and got tackled for a 6-yard loss. Yeah. And then it brought up 4th and 9, and then he decided to go for it on 4th and 9 instead of kicking. I think it would have been like a 48-yard field goal or something.
Right.
And they didn't get it. And then it turns out they went 0 for 6 on fourth down conversions throughout the course of the game. 0 for 6 on fourth downs. Just putrid. Pathetic.
No team has ever done that.
Really?
I think that's what they said. They tied when they were 0 for 5. And then when they went for it on the 6th time and didn't get it, that gave them, I think, the record. I don't think any team has gone 0 for 6 on 4th down.
Oh, that makes sense. That would make sense. But I can sum up the game in 3 words. Same old Lions.
Yeah. My thoughts are very much SOL. They went out there. Best offense in the league, right? Supposed to have best offense in the league.
Through 4 weeks.
And they're averaging 35 points a game or whatever. And then
400 yards of offense or something a game.
And part of that, I think, was, I'm sorry, but a little bit of smoke and mirrors. Because, again, they were behind in every football game.
No, except the Vikings.
Except the Vikings. I take back the Vikings. The Vikings, that was the game they legit should have won. But the Eagles game, they got smoked. And it was a fake Lions comeback against the Seahawks. You got smoked, and it was a fake Lions comeback. This game, you kind of got, I don't know, your coaching mistakes on 4th down were killing you by going for it, and especially on the first drive of the game. It's like, dude, the game just started, and you're going for it on 4th down on your side of the field. That to me is fireable, like right there. I'm sorry. I think that is fucking fireable right there. You don't do that. You do not do that. The game just started, and you're going for it on 4th down on your side of the field.
It wasn't.
Dude, this is a long game, and you're gambling right now. What are you doing?
He made so many errors in this game. It was just seemed like it was too many to count, really. And just little things, even like at the end of the game, there's under 3 minutes left. They're down 29 to nothing, and New England runs the ball, and the guy uses his timeouts to stop the clock. Like, what the hell?
Why? Get the hell out of New England.
What are you stopping the clock for? Someone could get injured on the next play because you stopped the clock. You don't know. But either way, it's just like...
Yeah, it wasn't like your DBs were dropping like flies or anything.
Yeah.
In that game.
The safety's getting hurt. Corners getting hurt. It was probably one of the worst games I've ever seen the Lions play.
It's up there. It's up there.
I mean, we've seen a lot of bad games.
I don't know... But I don't know where you go from here. Because now you're entering the bye 1-4. After the bye,
you got Dallas.
At Dallas.
That's a loss.
That's a loss.
Then you got Green Bay.
Well, you got Miami.
Yeah, then you got Miami.
And you don't know what Miami you're going to get because is it Tua? Is Tua back from the dead, basically? Is he one of the walking dead now? I don't know. Who's their backup? Who is their...
Teddy Bridgewater. They're losing to the Jets right now.
I don't know. Does it even matter? Could I play?
They're losing.
Could I play quarterback for the Miami Dolphins and beat the Lions? Maybe.
Well, the Dolphins are losing to the Jets right now. And just an interesting side note with the Jets is in this. When the Lions hired Campbell and Brad Holmes with that whole regime 2 off seasons ago, that was the off season where it seemed like a lot of Lions fans were clamoring for Robert Saleh to be the head coach here, the guy that was the defense coordinator for the 49ers. And he's from Dearborn, Michigan, I guess, and that was kind of a big reason why everybody wanted him here. Is one, he was kind of considered a local guy, and two, he was had a great defense in San Francisco. He goes to the Jets, who were putrid last year, but here we are in his second offseason with the Jets. The Jets are going to win the day and be 3-2. And most of those games they played with Joe Flacco at quarterback this year. And the Jets are going to be 3-2, and you're going to be 1-4. So it's unbelievable. All this people talking about getting a rebuild. Oh, they're still rebuilding. It takes longer than 2 years. It really doesn't in the NFL. The NFL is full of parity to a point where you can turn it around quick if you hire the right people.
2 years, you should be.
Teams go from worst to first all the time in the division.
Time in the NFL. All the time. The NFL is built that way. The NFL is built that way. The salary cap and stuff, it forces you to only be good for a couple of years. And you really got to draft well. And those teams get rewarded by, the Lions didn't they have a lot of draft picks? I mean, wasn't that like going into last year's draft? And now you look back on last year's draft and you got to say, hell, Hutchinson, where are you? You've not played your first 2 picks. You have gotten nothing from. Nothing. Jamison Williams hasn't even played a down in the NFL yet. And now Hutchinson is basically invisible. Your best player from this draft is a 6th-round linebacker, Malcolm Rodrigo. So you've gotten one. To me, who else can you point to in this past draft has made any play, any symbol of
any type of impact?
Yeah, any impact at all. Other than Rodrigo, you have nobody.
And I wouldn't say he's made a big impact. He's been here or there, made some tackles.
He's a hard knocks guy, right? I mean, because even in the games, he's getting smoked. So he makes a couple plays, but I don't know.
So let's do the mock draft route.
Of what? It's too early for all that.
Let's just say you get the number 1 overall pick. What do you do?
Oh my God.
Do you go quarterback? Do you go Will Anderson? Do you go?
I'm sorry. I go defense. I got to go defense. The defense is still part of the problem to me. I don't know if Dan Campbell's going to be here though, because if this season continues as it is, if I'm the Fords, I mean you're an idiot. If I'm a Ford. However, but if you're a normal person in an ownership position and you go, I don't know, what do you go? You're 1-4. You're going to be 1-5 after the bye. You play the Dolphins. Is that a coin flip game if Tua does not play?
I'd say Dolphins have the edge regardless.
Okay, so now you're 1-6.
And then you got Green Bay.
You're
very
1-7.
You're very easily staring 1-7 right in the face.
Thank you. So you're at 8 games into the season. You're basically halfway in.
And last year they started
you're 1-8. You're 1-7.
And you're pretty much one game better than you were last year because I think they started 0-8 last year.
0-8, yeah.
I don't know how far it took. I don't know if they went 0-9, 0-10, but I know for sure they were at least 0-8.
And then you have Chicago. At Chicago. That could be a win. That could be.
Could be a win.
Then you have the Giants at New York. You're not winning that game. Then Buffalo. You're not winning that game.
That's Thanksgiving.
And then Jacksonville.
Probably not winning that game.
You're probably not winning that game. And then the Vikings at home.
You already lost that game. Should have won it, but you lost.
At the Jets. Well, that's a loss, I would say. Jets could be fighting for a playoff at that point. Then at Carolina.
Could win that.
Home against Chicago, you could win that. And then against Green Bay on the road.
So, I mean, you got to really do some work to get to 5 wins, I would say.
I would say.
You got to do some real work.
Yeah, 5 wins. You got to be.
You got to start doing some real.
Yeah.
Real work.
That's the rest of the season. I have 4 or 5 wins, I think, out of that. So you're 4-13. I mean, or you're 5-12. Is that enough? Because you went, 3-14 last year. You go 4-13 3-14 last year.
Well, yeah, 3-13-1.
Oh, 3-13-1. Okay. 3-13-1. And say you go 5-12 this year. Is that enough?
Is
that enough?
Enough for what, though? I mean, I
another season with Dan Campbell.
I expected them going into this year. I figured 5-12 is kind of what I figured. I figured 5 wins, six tops, and maybe their ceiling. It's looking like 5 is maybe the ceiling now, but shoot, man, the way this team plays, they might not better their record from last year. They might not get more than 3.
I gotta say though, when you look at the Detroit Lions last year to this year, where did they upgrade any personnel on defense? I mean, like
personnel-wise, I mean, Hutchinson, but that's just a given because you had the number 2 overall pick.
But
I mean, Rodrigo, I guess maybe, but I mean, is he really any good, or is he just a local icon because of Hard Knocks?
You still got Anzalone, and he sucks.
Yeah, Anal Zone sucks.
He's terrible.
I mean, Okuda's got healthy and played well the first few games, and now he's hurt again.
Yeah, your safety play, all your whole secondary's hurt, so you got guys that are backups and they're not very good.
You drafted that Paschal guy who hasn't even played.
Hasn't played.
Onwuzurike, the guy from the year before that they drafted, hasn't played. But they haven't really upgraded anything personnel-wise.
So why would they be any better when these other teams are obviously upgrading positions? They're upgrading their people.
And
I don't get it.
Offensively, they had me the first few weeks thinking, all right, they're still the Lions. They're still losing games in SOL fashion. They're still losing. They're still the same old Lions just because they're losing the way they lose. But you could at least watch the games and see, their offense is legitimate. The first 4 games. They've gotten a lot better on offense. It was clear, and I went from being a guy that's, Jared Goff sucks. He's not the answer. He's terrible. He's awful. To saying to thinking, all right, Goff ain't the problem. Goff's not the problem.
I don't know.
After today, I mean, I still would say, I mean, he made a lot of bad throws. He overthrew guys, threw the ball out of bounds, threw the ball past guys out of bounds that were kind of open near the sidelines. So he's not a very accurate quarterback, but is he the problem or is he not? I mean, you look at a game like today and you think, yeah, he could be the problem because he was pretty awful today. But you look at the first 4 weeks and you're thinking he's clearly not the problem. I mean, did New England really just flip a switch and become that good in the course of 1 week because they had their backs against the wall?
Bailey Zappi, though. I mean,
Bailey Zappi.
I mean, he looked phenomenal today.
Yeah, he looked like an NFL starting quarterback.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked really, really
poised, had some moxie to him.
Yeah.
Accurate, good decisions, good pocket presence. He looked like a legitimate quarterback.
And New England's
today.
defense, what can you say? New England's defense was phenomenal today. Pass rush was strong, consistent.
No, they shut down the number 1 offense.
Wow, yeah, but and then so if I'm the Lions too, and I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at DeAndre Swift, for example, I don't know what you have in this guy. How many games has DeAndre Swift missed in his career now?
Seems like a lot.
It does seem like it's an awful lot. I could look it up for everybody, and maybe I should just. To give
I'm of the mindset with Swift. It's gotten to a point with him. It's like, yeah, he's got a lot of ability. He's a good player. He can do a lot of things really exceptionally well. But I'm not going to pay him because he's proven to me, he's shown he can't stay healthy. So I'm kind of the mindset of when he's healthy enough to come back this year, let him get his yards, let him get his carries, his receiving yards, score some touchdowns. Maybe he has a boom of a second half of the season. And I'd trade his ass for whatever I can get for him in the offseason. Trade him for a second-round pick, third-round pick, something. Just because I'm not re-signing him. I'm not keeping him. I can't rely on him. I can't rely on him to be healthy.
I'm on this Draft Sharks, and this is DeAndre Swift's injury guide. And this, they have this broken down. Chance of injury in 2022, 88%. Chance of injury per game is 12%. Expected games missed in 2022, 3 games.
I think he's already missed that.
Yeah, he's missed 2.
2 for sure.
2 for sure.
It might have been 1 before that too. I don't know. I think he played the first 2 weeks. I don't know if he played all the Minnesota game. But I can't rely on him. Being healthy is a skill. Okay?
So in 2019, Swift missed 2 games after being diagnosed with a concussion in 2020. In 2021, groin injury during Lions training camp. He has been in regular Lions injury reports managing his groin since the injury, since the start of training camp.
He's missed a
That
lot
was
of games.
August of 21.
Nobody cares.
In 2021, he suffered an AC joint during Week 12's loss.
Nobody cares, brother. He's missed a lot of games.
He's missed a lot of
He's
games.
unreliable, okay?
So everybody loves him, though, but at the same time, he just can't stay healthy enough to make an impact in the long run of a season.
No,
he's good for a game, and then he gets hurt in the very next game,
Yeah.
he's out a quarter.
He needs
or
to
a
be
half.
he needs to be playing 12, 13 games at 80% his full health or better for those 12 to 13 games that he's going to play. I mean, he can't be coming in for a game and only getting 3 touches.
And I don't know what his latest injury is even now, but it just seems like he's always nicked up.
Yeah.
That's the perfect word for him. He's always nicked up. It's an ankle, it's a knee, it's a groin.
Is he
it's a
hurt or is he
concussion.
injured? Because there is a difference,
I don't know. I think that's part of where Deuce Staley, I heard, through all the hard knock stuff, trying to be hard on DeAndre Swift, trying to be hard on him and coach him hard so that he becomes more of a dog mentality.
Yeah, he's not a dog.
The knock. He's not a dog.
He's not a dog.
He doesn't have dog mentality.
He doesn't. He don't have that killer instinct of, like those running backs of yesteryear where they'd play with, busted up knees and hips and everything. It didn't matter. They'd play and still get their yards, and he's just not that guy. Where do we go from here? I say we. I couldn't give a shit less.
Yeah,
we're not really
I don't
Lions
know.
fans.
I mean, you're going to be 1-5, easily 1-7.
I'm firing Dan Campbell. To
Yeah,
be
I
honest,
think that's where-
after this game today, because this wasn't just like
You're
some.
not firing him tomorrow.
If I was the owner, I would.
You're going to fire him when he gets back, when he lands from New England, when the plane lands from New
I
England.
would. That game was an embarrassment.
Being shut out was an embarrassment.
Your coordinators
Being shut out was rough.
your coordinators are an embarrassment because Aaron Glenn and the defense are atrocious. I mean, I wouldn't fire Ben Johnson. I would probably give Ben Johnson the interim duties to be the head coach the rest of the year. I mean, I'm probably a little biased on it just because I just think Dan Campbell's an idiot. And, I mean, realistically, would you fire him? I mean, 5 games into the second year, I guess not. Probably not, really. But, a hyperbolic jump the gun, yeah, I'd fire his ass. That game was...
I don't know.
That game was terrible. That was a joke. He's made countless
Do you
blunders.
think he's lost the team? Because we talked about that during
It looked
game.
like it during the game.
Yeah,
it looked like they quit.
Yeah, it did look like it to me. Like they do seem to have given up in certain aspects of the game, and it does seem that way on the coach on the sidelines and stuff, and how the players are performing. It doesn't seem like they give a shit anymore.
That
To
game,
me.
it didn't.
That game
was
When you go get shut out, I don't know what that tells you. I mean, other than
to a third-string quarterback,
Yeah.
Bailey Zappi. I mean, it's in consecutive weeks.
no.
In consecutive weeks, you've got your ass kicked by Geno Smith and Bailey Zappi in consecutive weeks. Neither of those guys should be NFL quarterbacks, but they looked like Joe Montana against you, like every quarterback does. It almost seems like every quarterback the Lions have ever faced over the last 5 years have had career days against the Lions.
Yeah. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a good opening game. Geno Smith was good. Bailey Zappi looked like a Pro Bowler today.
The Lions had the one good half against the Redskins, or the football team, Commanders, whatever you call them now. They're always going to be the Redskins to me. But, I guess for most Lions fans, it's looking forward to the draft now. That's where they're at.
you got to almost like fast forward the season now. I mean, you watch just to watch at this point, but
You got to kind of start to figure out
yeah.
what you're going to do with your coaching staff. You got to start to establish, is Goff the guy or is he not the guy?
He's not the guy. He's not the guy.
So you're drafting a quarterback then?
I don't know. Let's say the Lions have top 2 or 3 pick again. I wish the Lions would be. How can you do this year after year after year, brother? I mean, it rattle off top 5 picks for the Lions.
They have the Rams pick this year again too. So wherever the Rams finish,
It don't matter. It don't matter. because the guy's going to have a torn ACL and be done. He's going to have concussion problems and be done. He's going to have off the field problems and be done. It just never gonna materialize into anything. He'll be done. It doesn't matter who the pick is, where the pick is. I've seen it too many times, brother. I've just seen
I know
it.
we have.
Lived it.
I know we have.
It doesn't matter. It's just.
Why is that?
I don't know. That's the problem. That's what people need to figure out.
It's got to be the one constant. The common denominator is the owners, the
That's
Fords.
the issue. Is it a curse? Is it a hex?
No, I don't believe in the curse
I don't know if
thing.
I believe in that stuff.
I don't believe in the curse thing. I believe in the Fords are
That's
notorious.
The one common denominator.
They're notoriously awful. They're awful at hiring. They're general managers. They're team presidents. People of operations, the coaches.
Good people. I mean, like they've struck out on all of these people.
I was never I never was into the Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell thing from the beginning.
Don't know.
I wasn't really. I mean, Dan Campbell, what the fuck, dude? He just when they hired Dan Campbell, everyone was like, "What, Dan Campbell?" The guy has no head coaching experience.
And that was a Chris Spielman thing because they brought in Chris Spielman as an advisor, as a consultant. And as a guy that knew the league, right? As a guy that knew the league.
Who was the guy that they brought in from the Browns that was the GM that helped rebuild the Browns over the last 5 or 6 years? And they brought him in as a consultant too. I can't remember that guy. I can't remember his name. He's came in as like an advisor for a few teams and helped them turn things around.
But the Lions don't get turned around.
No. And I don't know what it is. To me, it's just the Fords are just cursed. That I don't know. They just hire the wrong people all the time. And part of me thinks that when you got people like Sheila Ford running it now, to me, it's just like she just was born into the Ford Firestone family.
Brother hates Sheila Ford.
I just hate all the Fords because they've never done anything here. And it's just when I see Sheila Ford, it's like probably never had a real job in her life. Was born into the money. Never had to really build or hire anyone to build anything. Everything, she's had everything given to her whole life. She's not like some of these other owners that made their own fortunes and then bought a team and were able to, have business sense, business savvy, and knowing what they don't know and knowing the right people to hire. I mean, there's just no other explanation to me because they just continue to hire the wrong people. I mean, you look at this, Dan Campbell looks like a lost idiot to me. He don't
look good.
He looks like a lost idiot to me.
He don't look good.
And then he'll get up on the press conference after the game.
This is on me.
This is on me. And he'll cry and like a little baby. Grown ass man gonna be up there crying over a football team that lost, got their ass kicked again. And he'll do little crocodile tears, sell you a bill of goods, and make you feel good about how it's on him and it's not on the players. And everyone's going to come out of the presser thinking Dan Campbell's such a good guy. We got to let him continue to build his team, and it'll go into the bye week, and everybody will be feeling good. Oh, they had a week off. They'll come out and they'll get smashed by Dallas, and it's this is a cycle. It's going to repeat until he's gone, until they bring the next guy in that sucks.
Well, you would have to say you look back at the Lions and. Once they got rid of Wayne Fontes, right? Look at the coaches.
Going way back.
Well, I'm just saying, it goes way back. It goes way back. And the other thing is like the Lions are a graveyard of coaches, okay? Mm-hmm. The Lions, like Allen Park headquarters is not where a football team plays. It's a cemetery, okay? That's what it is. It's a place where coaches go to die. Their careers go to die because they never coach again. I mean, maybe some guys have now. Jim Schwartz
they never head coach. They're never a head coach.
Yeah,
again.
They never go on to be a head coach. But Jim Schwartz has gone on to be a pretty good defense coordinator. Matt Patricia just smoked your ass today.
As an offensive coordinator, when he was a defensive coordinator.
But you look back before that, though, like Marty Morningwig, went on to, again, be an offensive coordinator.
Rod Marinelli went on to be a D-line coach.
But they never have ever, and this
Jim
stands
Caldwell.
true. Jim Caldwell, they've never gone on to coach as a head coach again, at least not yet anyways. So I don't know. I mean, Bobby Ross was a guy that wasn't he like in the military, and then he took the Chargers in '94 to the Super Bowl, won with Georgia Tech in college. Like this guy has won where he's been. He comes to the Lions and he quits. Like the Lions forced him to quit. The organization is so dysfunctional. The man quits.
They forced Barry to quit.
Yeah.
They forced Kelvin Johnson to quit.
Yeah. Look at the
two
history.
best players you've had in franchise history.
They forced them to quit. They realized that this is hopeless. This is hopeless.
And it was getting there with Stafford, I would say.
Yeah, Stafford. He was so apathetic.
Stafford looked like he was hopeless.
Yeah, he was so apathetic. He's just going through the motions. His paycheck is cashing.
And we're not even Stafford guys.
No, but I can't blame the guy. A lot of the problems were Stafford, but a lot of the problems weren't. You know, he caused his own problems a lot of times.
And in the first year he gets out of Detroit, he wins a freaking Super Bowl.
That just goes to show you.
The first year he's gone.
You know, I look back
that's just a slap in the face to the Lions organization. Sorry, I didn't cut you off, brother, but I just had to.
Yeah, really like that. I look back at the Lions, you know, and I look back when they had Calvin, you know, when they first drafted. Remember, he was a decoy, brother, for like 2 years.
Seemed that way, yeah.
For 2 years. He was damn near just a decoy. It never seemed like the Lions fucking used him.
Got Megatron, and we're just not going to use him. We just run around out there, and we're going to throw it to other guys.
Yeah. Never used the guy. At least a year, anyway. So
it seemed that way.
You know.
And that is a famous line over the years for the Lions, is that having Kelvin and using him as a decoy. That's a famous line.
They draft Charles Rogers before that, and the guy breaks his collarbone.
Twice.
They draft Mike Williams, and the guy can't quit the McDonald's. He can't put the McDonald's down.
After a year off of football.
Yeah.
The guy didn't play football for an entire year, and then they draft him, and it was a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
It was like in the top 5 or something.
Yeah, at one time they had Charles Rogers, Roy Williams from Texas.
He probably was the most successful out of all of them.
Roy Williams, I think, was
other than Calvin.
And then they had Mike Williams.
Yeah, other than Calvin.
They had those 3 guys who in college football at the time were the guys. And none of them turned out. How does that happen? How does that happen? Only the Lions. Only the Lions would that happen. You know, they had a decent squad.
Well, you could do only the Lions. Another only the Lions is just Stafford and his whole career. Only the Lions. They had Stafford. Was it number 1 overall or number 2 overall?
Stafford was number 1.
Number 1. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
it was number 2 overall. They got Sue, I think, right?
Yeah.
So
2 or 3.
Number 1 overall, they get Stafford, and this is a guy that in college didn't really accomplish much in college. He had a big arm. It was known to have a big, strong arm, but kind of a 10-cent brain. Made a lot of mistakes. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
And never won anything in Georgia.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that had a lot of weapons at Georgia, never won anything. And
he just fumbled the ball. Now Dallas got it.
And he just fumbled the ball.
Dallas is going to score a touchdown.
Right on cue.
Yeah, right on cue. Stafford's fumbling around in the back. Oh, flag! Come on.
Little boy blue.
Yeah, little boy blue is stumbling around back there. Dallas hits his ass. He fumbles. Dallas picks ball up and runs back for a touchdown.
Just another,
Just
only the Lions.
Stafford
Just
play.
another only the Lions, though, is Stafford being here for 12 years, being a big part of the problem, but also kind of not a big part of the problem at the same time. It's like the fact that there's even that complication of is he the problem or is he not the problem is a problem in itself that you don't know. And you're investing all this money in him. I mean, by the time the guy's career's over, he'll have made like $500 million.
Yeah.
Based off all the money he's made from L.A. and Detroit. And then he does nothing here. Never wins a playoff game. He only made the playoffs a couple times. Gets a ton of yards and stuff in garbage time when they're down by 30 in the games. And then the first year he leaves, he wins the Super Bowl. That's just only the Lions, man. Only the Lions. That you could play an entire career in one place and suck for so long and then get out for one season and win a Super Bowl. It's like, what the hell?
I view the Lions, at least under the Stafford era. I ain't going to go down this road very far, but under the Stafford era, they were fourth quarter Charlies. That's what they were.
Garbage time.
Yeah, garbage time stats. He would put up his numbers throughout the game. He would. But a lot of games that I watched, which was every one of them, it seemed like it was fourth quarter shit. We got to throw the ball.
We're down 24.
Yeah, we're down 24 points. We're down 17 points. We got to throw the ball, and he goes to Calvin. Oh, God.
Fumbled the extra point.
This game is already stopped.
Yeah, this game's already getting crazy.
Yeah.
Another flag.
I will say this, though. I have noticed this week in particular in both college and the NFL, mainly college yesterday, the officiating has been horrendous. The officiating in this football games and these seasons, this season, horrendous. They need to fix that.
They say that. We say that every year.
Yeah,
though.
but it's bad.
I mean, it's every year. It's the officiating is terrible, and they need to do something to fix it. And I just don't know what can be done. I think it just is what it is at this point, and you just got to take the good with the bad. There's going to be calls that screw you, and then there's going to be calls that you probably shouldn't get, but you do.
Yeah.
I think they all kind of balance out at the end of the year, to some extent. But
Well, I don't know where the Lions go from here, though, brother.
I would say the bye week
is a much needed bye.
It
but
couldn't come at a better
this,
time.
I tell you this, I think you're going to see a head roll. I could see somebody being terminated, somebody being let go. Is that Aaron? I don't know. Is that Aaron Glenn? Dan Campbell, this is going to be the hardest part of Dan Campbell's tenureship right now, because he's being looked upon because he's the head guy. He's the man in charge.
He hired these guys.
You know, and
he
so
hired Aaron Glenn.
He's gonna be faced tomorrow morning when he goes to the podium, I think, with some pretty hard hitting questions. You know,
he should.
Detroit media has a way of kind of being more softball stuff, but I think when they smell blood in the water, you know, this is one of those days. And in Detroit, I got to say, like, I'm talking about this, but like, as a Lions fan, you've had so many of these Mondays where coaches would go up there, and, you know, my pick is sharp, my axe is sharp, and my will is outstanding. That was Rod Marinelli. And you had Marty Morningwig up there saying just stupid, asinine shit. You had Mariucci up there saying the guy's got owies and stuff. You know, they're hurt. They got owies.
Well, now you got Dan Campbell.
So and so had a calf.
You got Dan Campbell saying the same dumb shit about we're going to bite your kneecaps and you know, I don't care if you got one ass cheek and three toes. Well, evidently New England had both ass cheeks and all 10 toes because they just kicked your ass.
I just the Lions always hire that guy that's just an idiot.
Jim Caldwell's the best coach they've had.
Jim Caldwell never should have been let go.
He should have. It was time. He might
have been regressing at that part.
He wasn't going to get him over the hump. But,
no.
But going from see, everybody says Caldwell should have stayed because Patricia and Bob Quinn came in and made things worse. Just because they made things worse doesn't mean that getting rid of Caldwell wasn't still the right decision. You just replaced him with the wrong people.
Yeah.
And now they've come in with Campbell and Holmes, and they've replaced Quinn and Patricia, again, with what looks like the wrong people. And
he tried to be New England West, right? I mean, and it just didn't work.
No, then they came in here and tried to be the Rams / the Saints, you know. Because it seemed like Brad Holmes was coming in and doing all this, the Rams type shit, and Dan Campbell was trying to do kind of like New Orleans Saints type shit because that was his background where he came from.
Yeah.
And I get you're going to kind of bring in some stuff from the place that you were, but you're not those teams. Like, you don't have those owners. You don't have that culture.
Well, they're trying to build that, though. I mean,
yeah, but
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, but you gotta. It's got to be organic. You can't just like leave the Saints and come here and expect I'm going to build the same culture I had in the Saints. You got to organically build your own new culture.
I don't know where they go from here, because, and I keep saying that I don't know, but I truly don't know.
Well, the bye week couldn't come at a better time.
Yeah, but I just feel like you're one. I've seen this so many times, and the guys that are there never are able to dig themselves out of this hole.
No,
and that's the thing. Is like, on a personal level, you like Dan Campbell. You think he's personable. He seems genuine. You know, he was great character on Hard Knocks and stuff. But like I said, I've seen this show so many times, and it always ends the same way. They end up getting fired. So, like, to me, I could see where you're coming from and saying fire him now. You fire him now, or you ride out the season. And I mean,
they won't fire him now because they signed him like a 6-year deal or something like that, like a 6-year contract.
That was foolish.
But just brother saying we've seen this movie too many times. I can predict you right now what's going to happen the rest of the year. They'll come out these next 3 games after the bye week. They'll lose all 3 of them. They'll be 1-7. They'll be 1-7.
They'll beat the Bears.
Yeah, and it'll be your second win, and you'll be staring the number 1 draft pick in the face.
Yeah.
You'll be staring the number 1 game. They'll be staring the number 1 pick in the face for about the last 6-7 games of the season, and everyone would be like, all right, there it is, first round pick or number 1 overall pick, just lose, baby, just tank, baby, for CJ Stroud or Bryce Young or Will Anderson or insert name here, whoever you want. And they'll win a couple meaningless games that they don't need to win, and they'll go from picking number 1 to picking number 4 or number 5 or number 6, something like that.
Yeah, it'll be 3 or 4 or 5, and they'll miss out on the top 3 guys that you want to hit on.
And then Bryce Young and Stroud and Anderson will all go 1, 2, 3. And go on somewhere and maybe turn those franchises around where they go, and the Lions will be stuck here in that purgatory spot of picking like number 6 or something.
4 or 5 or 6. Like they'll be picking 5th or something like that.
Yeah.
I can see that because the Lions have done it so many times, and right now they need number 1 pick, and I don't know who it is.
You just had number 2 overall pick.
Yeah, and you've gotten nothing. You've gotten 3 sacks and a half of football. He's done nothing for you. You've played 5 games now.
And then you traded up. You traded up for a guy that hasn't even played yet this year.
Right.
With Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be back till around like Thanksgiving, I heard.
Well, and at this point, if you're 1-7 at that point, do you even bring him back? Do you want, or just to see what he does? I
think you'd have to bring him back.
Do you start shutting guys down? DeAndre Swift, I told brothers, you might as well shut him down.
Yeah, my mindset on that is I play him, hope he gets his yards and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Just play him. But I'm just saying, you could say shut him down.
Yeah, you could. And I would just, I'm not re-signing Swift. I'm done with it.
I wouldn't re-sign him.
I'm letting him come back, get his yards, his touchdowns, and get a little bit of value back, and then I'm trading his ass for a 3rd-round pick or something. And,
because he's never going to stay healthy.
Yeah, he's not going to stay
healthy. He's getting older. And I know he's still young. He's still like, what, 23, 24?
Yeah, they just drafted him like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He's only been in the league a couple of years.
Yeah. But you can just see that the tread is coming off the tires very quickly with him. You can just see it.
Yeah, he can't take any contact.
No. His ankles, he's great when he's healthy, but he's never healthy.
And if he is healthy, it ain't for long.
Yeah, if he is, it's for a game or 2, and then he's hurt.
Stafford going for it all.
No.
Well, you want to rap about anything else? Any of the other games this weekend? While we're rapping here.
Whoa, your Alabama Texas A&M game last night. That turned out to be one of the best games definitely the best game of the weekend. But that was one of the better games I've seen in a long time.
I thought that game, because we were 24-point favorites, I figured we were probably going to meet that. Probably going to win by 24 or more, but. Jalen Milroe, man, we got to. Bryce Young plays that game. We beat the spread for sure on that.
Jalen Milroe sucks.
Yeah, Jalen Milroe. He's not a quarterback. Yeah. He's not a quarterback at that level for that program.
Put him at running back. Put him at wide receiver. Milroe sucks.
He's at like University of like Cincinnati or like
blocked
South Florida or something like that. Then I could see him playing quarterback. But you can't play at University of Alabama at that level. With that skill set that he has. Or lack of skill set when it comes to passing. But we won the game. We're on to Tennessee next week. Bryce should hopefully be back, and it's in Knoxville. And Tennessee will probably go up to like rank number 5 or something. They killed LSU.
I was watching something today, and
Tennessee's good this year.
It said, Tennessee might be favored in that game if Bryce Young don't play.
He's got to play because they're not winning without him.
Yeah, I don't see how you win without Bryce Young.
Yeah, they're not winning without him. It's Milroe.
Yeah, he ain't it.
No.
He ain't it.
No.
But, I don't know. On the road in Neyland Stadium with the checkerboard, end zones, can be a tricky place to play because Tennessee fans are going to be up for it.
Yeah, that's the biggest game they've had in like 20 years.
I think the quarterback's playing pretty good football right now, too.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Probably the biggest game they've had in Knoxville in like 25 years.
I'd say, a good amount of time. So...
About Michigan, you want to wrap on Michigan?
Big game coming up next week against Penn State. You gotta let JJ fly, baby. You gotta take the shackles off. You gotta take the handcuffs off. You gotta let him go. You got to let him go and let's go, baby. You gotta get the guys like Angel Anthony in the game, AJ Henning, Emmons, Cornelius Johnson.
Keep feeding Corum.
Yeah, keep feeding Corum. And Edwards, I'm sorry, is overrated. He's overrated. His vision sucks. Doesn't break any tackles. He's a good pass catcher. He's good there.
Yeah, he's been big in their passing game.
Then I guess that's what he is. But
more so than in their running game.
When I watch him run the football, he's not a threat to me. He goes down really easy. The line the line doesn't really block for him that good. Hell, I didn't think they blocked all that great for Corum either yesterday. You watched that big run he had. There was 4 guys literally right around him. He ducked underneath them. I don't know how he did it. There were 4 guys literally right there. He ducked underneath them and then took off and he was gone. It was Barry Sanders type play to me. It was just like it. But defensively, I mean, you look good. It's a bend but don't break defense. It's fine. You got some pass rush on Indiana yesterday. But offensively, that's where it begins and ends for me. You got to take shackles off JJ and let him go. You got to let him fly and throw the ball, get his ass out of the pocket, get him. What did you make him the starter? You, like brother said, you made him K. McNamara. You made him a check down quarterback. Congratulations, you killed him. Everything that made him so special, you destroyed. Thanks.
Was that on Harbaugh?
I think so. I think Harbaugh is like scared to shit of it. I don't get it.
It's like Harbaugh wants these guys to play like it's 1990.
Can't do that.
Instead of just airing it out.
Yeah. I mean, so JJ has a couple bad games where his deep ball looks terrible. Okay, but hey, you can't go away from it. It's a vital part of the game. The down the field passing attack is a huge part of the game.
Yeah, in this day and age, 2022, all these offenses are
you can't give up on
high tempo, air it out. I mean, all the good teams they throw the ball efficiently. I mean, you look at Ohio State. C.J. Stroud's putting up crazy numbers at Ohio State.
You can't go away from it. You got to keep it in your repertoire, and you got to be able to hit on him. Eventually he will. But get him in to talk to him. Say, Jay. I mean, I cannot believe where it's like JJ. You not feel comfortable throwing this ball because you don't look comfortable throwing it. And, if he says no, I mean, I would rather be on the run, throwing out of the pocket. Okay, well then fucking call a play like that. I don't get it. And then, it's like the coaches don't see anything. They don't make any adjustments. Indiana had the worst secondary in the Big Ten statistically, and you don't press the ball down the field. You don't start throwing to Anthony until the 4th quarter. I mean, in the second half, the defense really stepped up, and the offense started moving the ball and putting the ball in the end zone when they got it in the red zone. But it's too late. It can be too late against a Penn State, against a Michigan State, even though Michigan State's terrible, but it's a rivalry game. They play like it's damn Super Bowl when it's us.
Another problem is with McCarthy. It seems like they're kind of like handcuffing him and kind of making him play like the same way Cade McNamara played instead of utilizing his strengths and his legs and his big arm throwing it down the field. And the longer they continue to use him the way they're using him, the longer they continue to kind of neuter him, is a good word, I would say.
Yeah.
I think that hurts his confidence in the long run, to where when it comes big games like Penn State or Ohio State, you've kind of done your damage. So where you've neutered him so much that he loses his confidence when you need him to make a big throw. It's like you got to let him. You got to use these guys. You don't take a player and try to make him fit into a certain system. I'm big on thinking you need to make a system around what your quarterback is good at. Okay, so it's almost like Harbaugh has this kind of like pro-style offense where they want to run it, 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
Only throw it maybe 15, 20 times a game.
Throw it to the tight end 10, 12 times a game.
Yeah,
that's Harbaugh's game.
And it's just like that. If that's not what your quarterback's strength is, if his strength and confidence is in getting outside the pocket, throwing it downfield, airing it out, and using his arm, but you're trying to change him into fitting into your scheme, then you're kind of ruining his confidence. I mean, what is he good at? If he's good at something else, you need to change your offense around to what he's good at. Like what the Ravens have done with Lamar Jackson. The Ravens built their entire offense around what Lamar Jackson's skill set is. And the Ravens and Lamar Jackson's league MVP. former MVP and could be league MVP this year.
The
Bills have done the same thing with Josh Allen.
Yeah, I think when I see the offense, it's like they didn't have a whole lot of faith in Cade. Cade earned that faith over last season.
Built up a little equity.
Yeah. To me, the offense, like at Harbaugh's mind, is run on first and second down. And then if you're at third and long, you're, oh shit, kind of a mentality, like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, where you're like, well, now I got to throw the ball. But now you don't have enough experience, enough practice in passing plays to really be efficient at them.
You got to get the game reps in. You need those reps during the game.
And so now all the pressure is on this 3rd and 7 to make this pass and this catch and everything work. And then you're going to go right back to run as much as, so it's like every pass becomes so much more critical when you only throw the ball a handful of times a game. Now, yesterday he did throw the ball quite a bit, 30-some times for 300 yards. But, again, a lot of that came in the second half when you finally started putting points on the board. You handcuffed him ever since the Hawaii game. In the Hawaii game, it was like everybody was like, oh, my God, this is what we're going to get. Like, we're going national title, baby. This is what we've been waiting for. And then the very next game, it was like, what?
Was Cade McNamara in?
Yeah, and then the next game, it was again like, what? What are you doing? And then the next game.
Very conservative.
Enough. What are you doing?
Very conservative with the offense.
Yeah.
It's been. You said something there that reminded me of another thing about with the Lions game to touch on with all the mistakes Dan Campbell made. And you said, it's 3rd and 7, it's a critical down, and
yeah,
it reminded me of on the Lions game there, it was 4th and 2. And they went for it, and they threw it to St. Brown for 1 yard out on the right in that flat.
Yeah, then you would throw the ball past the
Why? What the hell, man? What the hell are you calling that play for?
Yeah.
And then the other 4th down, it was 4th and 1, they gave it to the fullback, and I said, "It's 4th and 1. Yeah, I would go for it here. I got no problem with you going for it. Just give it to Williams, give it to Jamal Williams, run it to the right side around your biggest dog, which is Penei Sewell, off right tackle, and let him get the yard." And they turn around, they give it to the fullback, and he gets stuffed. And it's just like, what the hell, dude? What? Your fullback ain't touched the ball all year long, and now it's 4th and 1, and you're giving him the ball, who he hasn't touched it all year.
And this is going to sound crazy, but fullbacks do tend to go down easy. Like they run into a huge pile of people. Like fullbacks get the ball, like they immediately just run into the pile of people. They don't really think. Like, forget the Mike Allstats of the world. Forget like those guys. Like Corey Schlesinger was just a hammer. Like he would just smash into the line and then ultimately end up going down because the pile wouldn't necessarily move. Where like if you give the ball to Jamal Williams, he's at least going to
make somebody miss.
Yeah, he can make somebody miss. If you kind of give it to him when he's got a little bit of an option to cut back up into a lane or something like that.
He's got better vision,
Yeah, speed to get around the outside if he feels like he can make it out that way. I don't get the play call.
Just when you said that, it made me think of that 4th down call and thinking how horrible it was. It's just so many bad decisions in that game. It really mind-boggling when you think like this guy's an NFL head coach. What the hell?
Yeah.
And it's here we are sitting on a couch seeing things that you feel like these guys should see, and they just never seem to do, and they always just seem to make the wrong decision. And I guess it's like, if they do it and it works, they're the smartest man alive. But if they do it and it doesn't work, they're the dumbest man alive. So there is a little bit of you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But he's damned if he don't more often than not because he screws up a lot of things.
I have no faith in Dan Campbell anymore. I think a lot of this hard knock stuff was just a lot of
foo-foo.
Yeah, it was foo-foo Hollywood stuff. It made you feel good. It made you feel like the Lions were on a national prominence.
Fake hope.
Yeah, it was. I don't even know what it was.
I never bought into it.
It was just.
I never will buy into any type of Lions hope.
Yeah, it was soap opera. To me, it was soap opera stuff. And you come out now. You're 5 games into the season, and what Bill Parcells' old saying is: "You are what your record is. You are what your record says you are. You're 1-4. That means you're not a very good football team."
They also are what Denny Green said. They are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
And I thought they were the same old Lions. That's who they are. Anything else you want to rap about? I think we got a good recap on this weekend's festivities.
One last thing, we got sidetracked on the Michigan thing, is back to the coaching stuff. and making adjustments. Indiana, like in the game against Maryland, Maryland was playing back, right, and they had all these crossing routes open available to them. They didn't take advantage of it on the offensive side of the ball. This week, every time they ran the ball, you saw so many like zero gains for run around the edge, off tackle and stuff like this, because Indiana had 8, 9, 10 guys in the box, and like you never took advantage of throwing the ball down the field in those plays. It was just bizarre to me. What are you running into 8-man fronts for? You have advantage on the outside. What are you doing? It's like they just don't. I don't get. And like you watch the Lions and coaching and stuff, and it's like we're like brother just said, we're sitting here watching this, and it's like clearly these guys know more about football than we'll ever know. They've forgotten more about football. That's the old saying, right? Is these guys have forgotten. Well, is that necessarily true? Because I sit here and I know, I can see this stuff. Brother can see this stuff. You don't go for it 6 times on 4th down. Unless this is Madden.
It just sounds absurd.
Yeah, EA Sports.
4th and 9 after you just lost 6 yards on a 3-yard.
You just lost 6 yards. You went from 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3 to 4th and 9. What are you doing? I think Dan Campbell is an idiot. He is the Viking idiot.
He's a Viking idiot. I think that's a good place to wrap it up there. We got a little recap on this weekend's gridiron festivities. Yeah. Next week, got Penn State, got Tennessee. Lions are off. Yeah. I don't know if we'll have a pod or not, but
yeah, we might not have a pod next week. We'll see.
Well,
are we going to Penn State?
I don't know. I guess we still got to think about that.
Yeah, we got to think about that one, because we might be.
That's in 2 weeks.
Podcasting from the road next week or that
2 weeks. That might not be bad, because we could film the journey.
Yeah.
Post the whole journey on there.
Yeah.
Might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, Smith Boys Podcast.
Over.
Anything effing goes.